Hey guys, and welcome back to EQ Planes, and today I'll be unboxing the Lufthansa 787-9 from Av400. Now without further ado, let's get into the unboxing and why I bought this particular model. Now, yes, it will be nice to have a Lufthansa 787-9 in my airport updates, especially considering this is likely to replace the 747-400 on the routes to Canada, but I had actually bought this model for its registration, Delta Alpha Bravo Papa Alpha, which is a registration I'm quite familiar with, as I've run into it on quite a few times plane spotting. Number one, I saw this registration for the first time in 2019 while it was being built in the Boeing factory. Back when the Boeing factory still did their tours. Initially, this aircraft was being built for Hainan Airlines, but would eventually find its way to Lufthansa. And this summer, when I went to Seattle on a trip over the summer, I had seen this registration at the Boeing factory in the Lufthansa colors waiting to be delivered. And then finally, on my trip to Frankfurt to fly the Lufthansa 747-400, saw this aircraft on one of its first day of operations. It wasn't operating revenue flights that day, but was doing test flights around Germany. So I've definitely seen this aircraft a lot, and is kind of a special registration to me. But without further ado, let's take a closer look at the model itself. Now, while taking a closer look at this aircraft, I'd like to start out with the mold itself. So this is on Av400's brand new 787 mold, which in my opinion, I've taken a close look at it over here, and I have compared it to the NG models mold, and I think I do still prefer the NG models mold for a couple of reasons. I'd say number one, engine sizing. These engines do hang a bit lower to the ground, however, overall still looking really good. I think I do like the tail section a little better on the NGs. On NG's version of the 787, it's a little thinner. This one's a little chunkier, just like the new JC Wing 787 mold. And the other thing I do prefer is the nose shape. I think that the NG model 787 has just a bit of a better 787 profile to it. Well, they haven't done it 100% perfectly on the Av400 version. However, I still think it's very close, and in my opinion, it's something that is hardly noticeable. And I do think that this model is still, though, a bit better than the Gemini Jet / JC Wings new 787 mold for a couple other reasons. Number one, I think that the mold in terms of shape and quality is fairly similar to that JC Wings Gemini Jet 787 mold. However, it does come with a few nice features, like their antennas are really nice on the Av400 stuff, and you have that iconic Av400 beacon light with the red. It would definitely be nice to see NG or Gemini Jets do that, as I think it does really add a nice element of realism to the models. But yeah, overall, the new Av400 787 mold is a really good mold. However, it's not blowing me away, and I still don't think it's quite beat out NG models. However, that's just my opinion. Now let's move on to the printing and livery. Now, I have seen the Lufthansa 787 from NG models for reference, and I noticed NG models did make a printing error right here. However, Av400 does not seem to have made the same error. It was a relatively small error, just with the titles being switched around. However, Av400 hasn't done that. However, I am not a huge fan of the large red boxes here. I know there are red boxes like that on the real livery. However, they're not quite that large. So I don't think Av400 has done an amazing job on the printing when it comes to the model, but overall not bad, as the Lufthansa coloring and stuff is all relatively nice. And the other thing I do like about this Av400 mold is the sheer amount of detail that has been put into it. You can see all the different markings, little hatches, and pieces of the aircraft. The other thing I've noticed about the Av400 version is the color of the windows. Now, I do believe that is a more accurate color for the 787 windows, as in certain light you can definitely see the 787 windows have that kind of tint to them, as it's hard to describe, but it's almost a brownish tint that the windows have versus the gray tint that Gemini Jets and NG models often use for their aircraft windows. But yeah, definitely glad to have this particular registration, as like I stated earlier in the video, I seem to keep running into it by accident, and yeah. So overall, I'll score the model an 8 out of 10. I definitely like the new Av400 mold. However, as once again I stated earlier, I don't think it quite beats out NG's. And when it comes to the printing on the aircraft, I think that it is really good. However, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because I must say, like I said, those red boxes are a little big for me. But yeah, so overall, really glad to have this model. And yeah, hope to see you guys back next time.